Hello, my name is Brendan Jaggers, and this is football throughout time from start to where we are now. And we start with in the beginning, there was a man named Walter Camp. Walter Camp was a Yale rugby player in the late 1880s, and he wanted to more modernize the game of rugby. And so he changed some rules and came up with a sport called football. A lot of these rules and regulations we still use today, such as the quarterback position, the line of scrimmage, and the same scoring system where touchdowns are 6 and field goals are 3 points. And a lot of people really took notice to his new way of playing this game, and they ended up starting a pro football league where several teams got together to, kind of try out the game. And the first professional football game took place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on November 12th of 1892. The game was between the Pittsburgh Athletic Club and the Allegheny Athletic Club. The game was played using Camp's new rules, and a lot of people really took notice to this and began to really like it and kind of understand more. And they could realize that this was going to be something that could draw a crowd. This would be the start to something that could be great. So 10 teams got together and they started the APFA, which is the American Professional Football Conference. And this was started by, of course, these 10 teams to try and draw a crowd, and so that way, they could make money to keep the league going. And this man here on the right is Jim Thorpe. He was actually a player in the league who they elected to be the first ever president. And 2 years later, in 1922, they actually changed the name to the National Football League, which we now know as the NFL. And after it began to take off and start drawing larger crowds, more players started to get paid. Most of these were paid a pretty low, like, per game salary. But in 1926, the first NFL large contract was actually signed by a man named Red Grange. His contract was worth roughly $100,000, and with people making this kind of money, the league was thriving and everything was going good up until about 1959. In the year 1959, a man named Bud Adams and Lamar Hunt decided that they were going to start their own league. They didn't want to be associated with NFL, so they were going to make something that they potentially thought could be better. And they come up with the AFL, which was the American Football League. And the American Football League had 8 teams from 1960 to 1965 and eventually got up to 10 teams by 1970. But these guys soon realized in 1970 that the NFL was already bigger than them and that they were never going to be able to top the amount of money and fans and stuff that the NFL were drawing in. So they were slowly just getting closer to bankruptcy. And so they ended up having the Great Merge. This took place later in 1970, where the AFL owners actually got with the NFL owners and decided that it would be better for the players in the game of football if they just made one big league. This merge ended up bringing the total league of the NFL to 26 teams, where just about every city every state, I should say, had some kind of football around them. They had somewhere that they could go to watch a professional football game. And it was doing great. The league was making tons of money and everybody was liking the sport. And then we get into today where the NFL is blown up. They've added 6 more franchise teams to bringing their total to 32 teams in the NFL. And the league's currently bringing in upwards of $15 billion a year. And they even employ over 1,700 players. And it's just arguably one of the greatest sports that's ever came to America. And, we couldn't have ever done it without Camp's innovative thinking and original ideas that really brought along this whole sport. And so you really just have to give the credit to Walter Camp for wanting to start something new for the